God designed failure to be a springboard for success, such that every time you fail, you learn another way not to do that particular thing.
Correct.
Now, instead of taking the lesson, if you choose to blame that someone is bewitching you, you're going to create a loop. And when you create a loop, unless you get out of it, it will keep looping. And that's one of the reasons why people don't progress, and then they say someone is bewitching them. Why? Because they created a loop. But you need to understand that it's okay not to know, number one, that failure is okay, and that we need to understand the laws of process for us to proceed, that someone is not necessarily bewitching you, and even if they were, depending on where you fall from your belief point of view, there are ways to handle it other than by retaliating through witchcraft.
Wow.
different. And things like, you know, witchcraft, juju, voodoo, all these different things they call them, were sort of part and parcel of who we were. So there are many angles and schools of thought about it generally, but it has ended up affecting us in many ways. Important to note though, it doesn't only affect Africans and doesn't only affect African families. On the contrary.
So you said the white magic is better. They say white magic is better than the black magic.
White magic, black magic, it's all magic.
Yes. Asian
and I mean, have you ever seen any African books on witchcraft? Well, maybe because we don't write. But the point is, it's everywhere. It's not just an African thing. Witchcraft is everywhere, and it has effects.
Right, Patricia.
Yep.
You've had the question. Does witchcraft affect our families? And if yes, to what extent does it affect our families?
Witchcraft affects our families. It shouldn't be a question. It should be a full stop with an exclamation mark for emphasis. It affects our families. And how do we actually know that this is witchcraft? Yes, as you say, divinity wasn't one of the things that we understood, but we had divinity in a way. We had our own divinity of understanding, but still the divinity that we had also had witchcraft against it. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, we had our own cultural, traditional way of worshipping and understanding, which could rhyme actually with what the white man brought, even if the white man brought us a white Jesus. We had our black Jesus. But even when we had our black Jesus, witchcraft was against our black Jesus. So when you look back traditionally backwards, you would understand that there existed that fight still in the back end. Yeah. So witchcraft, generation to generation, 7 generations in front, still following us through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is the Family Talk Show, and you're hearing from us here in the studio where we are talking about the effect of witchcraft in our family. So I want to just give you a context to this discussion. And we had a long conversation trying to get the panelists yesterday, and Onyai Tudeke was saying, no, it's open-ended. We need to find a way of making this thing work and find a place to hold these things, because some of these things will need to have authority, and some of the people who have been affected by this thing. So a few years ago, we started the idea of the Family Talk Show. And this was born as a result of many of our families struggling with the situation in our families. You know, a family is involving a mother and father and children. Okay, and then children, you have grandfathers and grandmothers, and then uncles and aunties and nieces and cousins, and you know, and everyone in there, including the dogs and goats and cows. Because Patricia here was talking very passionate about that. I don't understand how dogs, I don't understand the importance of dogs in the family. So those are our cousins. Onyai Tudeke has a new acquisition in his house for my very precious Taleni. I'm still fearing to go to his house because I don't know how I'm going to deal with Taleni's new friend. Because me and the dogs, we don't work. But that's our family. And in most cases, families have good and bad. We struggle with many things. So having gone through a certain scenarios in my family where wealth was there, everything was there before I was born, I think in generation to come. And then during my time, I'm told that we had wealth, but I never saw it. You know, we sort of like lived in a perpetual way of poverty, of struggling here and there, because I believe my understanding of wealth is that it is there. When you need it, you have it. You want to buy a car, you go. You want to ride this, you go. Which school you want to go to, you go to, as long as you're bright. But then it wasn't the case. So I started struggling with this thing, and as a young man, I was struggling with it. Not that I was the one practicing witchcraft, but I was wondering, why did our family get to that point of so much division? Uncles are always living in fear of the other one. My mother's side is always countering my father's side. There's always something going on. And so as a child, I watched this thing. Then I realized that my other friends are also going through the same. In fact, for them, it was worse. For them, it was, don't eat from this place. When you're walking on this road, jump like this. Don't come back from the same road, because auntie so-and-so might have done this. They're tying grass. Oh, just crazy stuff, man. So I realized there was a lot of division in the family. When I talked to Pastor Joshua Mugabe, almost the same thing. We talked to Asa and Sekajolo, same thing. We know everybody. So we decided we're coming up with a family talk show to try like talk about these things. Not just witchcraft. There are many things that affect the family. So we started on the value system. Number one, we must have the value system in our families. And the value systems in our family is built on so many things. But we wanted to say, families that don't have values, how can they build values? Values define the way we act in the public, defines the way we become successful in life, define the way we become serious people in life and the things we do. That said, we discussed a number of things under the context, and at some point we got to a point when you get married to get a family and this, then people said, so hold on. Some of us are at 40s and 50s. These were two ladies who brought it. Because some things happen and we don't want to repeat it. And in fact, one lady wrote to us and said that for her, she doesn't like the mother because the mother was involved in witchcraft and the mother left their father, yet the witchcraft that messed up the father was coming from her side, and she went. Now they are successful, born-again Christian, living a happy life, and their mother wants to come back, and so she's delaying to get married because she doesn't want to get to a situation like her mother. And then she said, I don't like my mother, but how do you teach me to love my mother? I love my father, she wants to come back in her life, she moved on. Again, where did you find that? Witchcraft. Why is she delaying to get married? She doesn't believe certain things that has happened in the past. So we said, what do we do? In that context, somebody offered an advice and said, you know what guys, there are many people, before you tackle when to get married, you need to tackle why do people stay long without getting married? What are some of the fears? Witchcraft came top of the discussion points. So we said building families, first value in the families. That's the series that we're discussing right now, Mr. Onya Chodeka and Patricia. And now we started with how does witchcraft affect our families, the ways of building. And then we discussed the ways to live above the effects of witchcraft in our families. And then we talked about how to love in our families. We discussed that last week. This week, particularly today, we are discussing how and the ways to bring back our people, family members who are still obsessed with witchcraft, but we want them back in the family and they are useful to our families. My question therefore goes to you, Patricia Kahil. Number one, what are some of those ways? Why? First of all, do you have any family member who has suffered from some of these things, or have you been through this?
No.
Have you heard about a family member?
Not heard about a family member.
Friend?
I have friends, I have people, it's all over. You can't just say you won't see it. And mainly for us who have chosen Christ as our Lord and Savior and who listen to the speech and the intercessions of the Holy Spirit, you just see it. Even before someone tells it to you, the Holy Spirit just says, that one, yeah, this is happening. The other one, so yeah, it's all over. It is kind of crippled into people's lives that they don't even understand that it's what is holding them back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're discussing that topic, and I want the team to put that topic up so that everyone can participate, and I want to encourage everyone out there to be part of this discussion today. The topic is very simple, and if you would just remove the graphics from it so that we can see it properly. And yes, so first of all, forget the family system values the other way around. Supposed to be the family value systems. That's the best way. But we're saying how families can work together to bring back members who are obsessed with witchcraft. Now that you have said you have had and other families, you are aware of what goes on and what is happening. What are some of those ways that you think, when we discussed here, we can deal with some of those? I will give you a background very quickly. What happened in our family for us was to confront those who are doing it. We confronted them. Some people said, leave them out, ignore those people, don't ever talk to them, they are bad people, they are messy situation. And I, as a young person, 15 years of trying to deal with this situation, called a family meeting, said, let's get home. Who and who is doing this? And we called them in, sat them, says, number one, you've been doing this, you've been doing so. We don't agree with you. We don't want this to continue happening, but we're telling you your ways cannot be entertained anymore. If you continue with that, we will basically leave you out of the family. Now, when you leave them out of the family, they are going to live in perpetual poverty. Because the mindset, like Ochom told us here, you cannot pray when people are going to work for you. You think witchcraft is going to give you money. Ochom told us that last week. So you will remain in poverty forever. Jemima said that if you don't change your mindset, poverty will keep you there. You will continue to do witchcraft, and if that person doesn't believe in witchcraft, they will never be affected. You will remain a poor person all your life. Now, we have to talk about this thing, and I'm giving you guys time to process it. So for us, how we dealt with it, in summary, call them out, talk to them. Now, those who did not listen, we left them. I can tell you, they are not educated, they can't express themselves, they live in the same streets with poverty, okay? Their mind, the way they think and the way they process things are very twisted, and I cannot help them because we told them and they have failed. But if they are willing to drop their ways and come, we're willing to receive them. Okay? And then we say, so that you're willing to receive them, first you need to accept Christ as your Lord and Savior, because you can't come, you are coming, and then you are still going to be running back the other way around. Yes. Yeah. So now that I've given you a context, starting with you, Odeke, do you want to jump on?
Well, I can. I've been listening to you, and
yeah.
There are a couple of things, I think we start from assumptions.
Yeah, that's the right
There is an assumption that they want to be helped.
Yes.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't want to be helped, it doesn't matter what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But if I don't know, Odeke, I don't know that I need help.
Actually, you
while you can talk to them,
yes,
you have to have some operating assumptions.
Yes.
That's what the first assumption is, they want to be helped. That's the first assumption we're operating on. Assumption number two, we need to understand the function, the purpose of witchcraft and why they are engaging into it before we can help them. Because they have an agenda, they have a purpose, they have an end goal. And since they are family, you're sort of stuck with them. So if you try to understand the reason, the motive, the rationale behind them engaging in witchcraft, you stand a better chance of helping them get out of it. One of the reasons that people engage in witchcraft is on a human level, it's a need. Humans have a need for certainty. They want to know, will tomorrow be okay? We want to be sure. As a result, there are lots of different types of witchcraft and sorcery. There are palm readers and fortune tellers, and all this kind of stuff. So witchcraft is broken down into so many things, including horoscopes. Yes. People who read horoscopes, how will my day be like? How will my month be like? All of that is an attempt.
Serious? Horoscope?
Yes.
Yes, it's a big deal. It's also published in the papers every day.
Yeah, I know. I've heard about it before. I didn't think it was that serious.
It is.
Witchcraft.
It is, but the question is,
yes,
who is the author of the horoscope? Because it's published in the paper.
You guys are now being too scientific on this matter.
No, but just
no, actually, it is the real truth. That's the thing. When he mentions palm reading,
yes,
I accidentally went into palm reading without even knowing. And when the guy was reading I'm like, hold up a minute.
Yeah.
How do you know?
Yes.
Who is feeding into you? And then I said, Holy Spirit, am I in the right place? They just said, pack and go. I just picked my things and walked away. Like, there are things we do naturally tending to think that they're actually not witchcraft, but they are actually witchcraft.
Yeah.
Horoscope is totally witchcraft to the beam.
Wow. So sorry.
Yes.
So again, here we're sort of defining what is witchcraft. So witchcraft in Uganda and Africa is defined by shaking and going to the witch doctor and all of these things. Yes. So that's what's in our head. That's what we know. And since we are discussing about how to help those family members who are involved in that,
correct,
I was talking about why, because we want to understand why they do it. And I had mentioned the point about certainty. They want to know. Also, witchcraft, apart from knowing, has elements of, I don't have the right words, laziness.
I call it ignorance.
No.
Or deliberate ignorance.
But you want to shortcut a process.
Thank you. It's not ignorance.
So we're all working hard, okay? And you consult a sorcerer, a witch doctor, a wizard, or a fortune teller, whatever it is, and say, what are my fortunes? I want to do this business. Shall I succeed or not? Yeah, that's witchcraft. And then if they tell you maybe you're not going to succeed, it is so and so who's going to succeed in place of you, and then you want to go
and remove what they're going to succeed.
Affect
their
success, apparently. And then, this person is aiding you affect someone else's success.
Yes.
Again, Odeke is waking up at 5 a.m. to go and work, and you want to think that the muscle development will take a running on Saturday.
Actually, also
madness of the
one is trying to affect you also waking up at 5 a.m. But not to go to work.
Yes.
No, but you're going to affect.
Yes.
For him, he's going to work.
Yes.
That is how it's done. So it's.
But guys, do you see how, anyway, you are running every morning, Chief. You are telling us you're looking for shoes to run to build muscle. This guy is waking up at 5 a.m. to do something else, to get muscles, because he wants to be like Odeke, and he thinks it is possible. Anyway, please continue.
But you see, you've raised a valid point, which I hadn't even talked about or thought of. That if you can put the same amount of energy in waking up early and calling on the ancestors and shutting all these things, if we just diverted that same energy into thinking and then acting, you still have the same chances. So what they don't understand is the laws of the universe. Witchcraft or no witchcraft. When you go up there on top of the roof and you jump from up to down, gravity will work on you. Witchcraft, proper witchcraft. So meaning, what does that tell us? It means that there are certain principles that have been established in the earth. That the earth rotates around an axis. Okay. That the sun is in a particular place and the moon is in a particular place and the earth is in a particular place and the different planets and it's a constellation and galaxies. There is an order. So what these guys are trying to do is to disrupt that order. That one of the principles that have been set in the earth is that the principles of seed, time, and harvest. And it's not a biblical principle. It's a universal principle. That when you plant a seed, you don't eat the fruit the next day.
3-4 months.
Exactly. And you have to tend to the fruit and then weed it and then hope for rain. So again, if you understand, so if you try to explain that, hey, I know you're participating in witchcraft because you want to shortcut processes, but look, if we just worked hard, we can achieve the same thing you want to achieve without us having to go through all of this shaking and whatnot and getting cobra skins and getting a leopard this.
Some lizard, poor lizard is dying.
You guys are laughing about human beings are being killed on those
get?
Yeah, that's a sad part though, yes.
So maybe if I'm to get back to the point,
no, but you've given us a good context to understand. We're talking about this on the Family Talk Show, and I think it's important for us to understand this. I actually like what you've said, because some of these things we're not looking at it that way, but you've given us a very huge context and a lot of rich stuff for those who are practicing witchcraft to think about it. All right, Odeke.
No, so I'm just saying, if
so, how do we help those who are obsessed? Yes.
So one of the ways is to reason with them.
Yes.
And tell them, okay, if you believe in this and I believe in this, how do we come together? What are you trying to achieve? What am I trying to achieve? Are we on the same team? Okay.
Are you sure you're on the same team?
Technically. I mean, and most times you are.
Using the certainty, like
But
you said,
the
yes.
means.
Yes.
You want to use witchcraft, I want to work hard. You get? You want to shortcut the system, I want to follow the process. Because the process will work on you. Remember, you get on the roof and jump, whether you shook
Or not.
you'll
Going
be
to
okay.
land.
Gravity will work on you.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get? So one of the ways is to reason with them and show them that, okay, you know, there are universal principles to this, that we don't have evidence or not on whether Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos shake. But if it's money you're looking for and you're shaking, clearly those guys have it and they didn't shake anything.
And if they did, the probably shaking was working very hard, or whatever they do are doing work.
Exactly.
Yes. You are
You get?
working.
And
yes.
that is a far-fetched principle. I mean, a far-fetched example, but it's what people look at as one of the world's wealthiest people. So you can come back here to Uganda, and there are a lot of people who have worked hard and didn't have to shake anything, didn't have to pay any homage to different spirits and all of this kind of stuff to get to where they are.
Yeah.
There's certain principles of just hard work. And there are principles of belief. There are certain universal principles. So we're trying to tell these people that, hey, the witchcraft you're doing it isn't necessary. You're trying to shortcut a process. Just understand processes and give them live examples like that. Like, imagine you were given onions and baking flour and cooking oil and all of these things, and instead of doing the work and kneading them into dough and trying to make some delicious maybe chapati or baking something, you want to wave around a wand, okay? And sort of the ingredients will begin to come together on their own, and the chapati will fall in the frying pan. You see, it's process. It's process. Just do the work.
Yes. I hope you guys are understanding when you're the man has broken this thing. I told you he's a superstar in this.
I'm just saying we need to help them understand processes.
Yes.
But yeah, let me.
Maybe the guy has failed. Let me just chip in there before Patricia comes. What if you've given me onions, everything, and just because I'm ignorant about not knowing how to put these things together to make the chapati, and I see Patricia doing it very nicely, and then every time I try it doesn't work like Patricia is doing. So the next thing I want to do is that instead of coming to Patricia to say, Patricia, look, Onyaito Deka has been giving me onions, baking flour, all these things, telling me to make a chapati because he's tired of me borrowing a chapati from him, and he's now giving me these ingredients to do mine. But I don't know how to do it, and so I'm ashamed of going to Odeka to say, teach me how to do it. Can you now show me? Instead of you coming to Patricia, you don't want to. You want to just go to Patricia and just, okay, not go to her. Say, if I cannot achieve this, I'll get it this minute. Is that a problem? How do you deal with a person who is not willing, knows the problem, ashamed of the process that he doesn't know, and is not willing to come just before Patricia comes in? Yes. If you summarize that, you've given everything and they are not doing it, but they are going to do witchcraft from somebody else because they don't have the ability to know how to knit the things together to fix it.
You see, there are lengths to which you can go to help any individual.
Okay.
The problem with some of these things is they are personal.
Yep.
I can talk to you, but I can't intervene on your behalf.
Very true.
It doesn't matter how much you love me
Yeah.
as my brothers, my sisters, my parent. There are certain interventions that are personal. So up until the person gets it into their head that, oh God, I need to take personal action, I need to take personal responsibility. Up until that point, I think one of the most important things, maybe just to wind it up like you said, is for us who are believers is to pray for them, because there comes a point when you have spoken your head off.
Yeah.
But again, there is a God somewhere, and that God made us, and He has our manual, and He has a way with people.
Yeah.
While He gave them choice, He could put pointers in their direction, say, you know, what you're doing is wrong. There's also this option.
Yeah.
While we have choice, God can actually prompt us and guide us, you know. Like when Moses went to Pharaoh,
Yes.
the Bible clearly says
Yes.
that God said, God didn't tell Moses, but it's written that God hardened the heart of Pharaoh.
Yes.
That means God has an ability as our creator for His own will and purposes to do certain things to prove a certain point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Pharaoh also learned the lesson.
He fact, this lesson was hard because
It was a hard
he
lesson.
was taken in the middle of the Red Sea,
Yes.
drowned all his best chariot and charities and everything gone. Yeah. So yes, well, ladies and gentlemen out there, we're talking about the effect of witchcraft in our families, but particularly if you would put that topic up there, because we want people to participate and we want you to please send in your comments, kisses and disses. If you think this topic is weak, diss it properly. If you think it is good, please kiss it by giving us your own comments. It's all out there. We're going to read it. We're going to make sure you participate, but these things are real. You are there as a corporate man. Imagine you're a killer with your suit walking every day. There is some guy there who is busy taking the dust from your feet to the witch doctor to destroy you so that you don't wear that. And this is real, guys. This is real. So, but how do you love that? If you now find that that person is your cousin, is your cousin doing that, how do you love them? How do you bring them back to the family to teach them, because they become a problem to you? So we're going to just listen from Patricia before we go for a break. Yes, time for you to shoot. Kahil, yeah.
You are just prompting my preaching side.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take it now to the spiritual line.
It's actually right there on the screen, yes.
So, spiritually, there's a body, there's a soul, there's a spirit. All of these operate on a different realm. And in these realms, we also have to know that there is good, there is evil. But all the good and the evil springs power from one place. So it was God who created everything that he mentioned earlier. But then someone looked at God and said, "Nothing, sir. I am better than you. I'm going to become my own king." So he took out what he needed, and God was like, "But you are my son." "No, I'm no longer your son. I'm going to be fighting for the same seat that you're on." So we created the devil. The devil almost has the same power with God. The evil and good that we see springs from God, but the evil from a disobedient, self-centered, self-righteous, confused I would say young man if you're in family, young man, disobeying his father. And then he rallies other people. Because of his talents, because of his things that he knows, because of the power that he has consumed and understood about the realms and how they work, he can create. He can do a lot of things with that power. Now, let's bring it home. So we are in a family where a great-grandfather was enticed, or in his way looking for wealth and everything, he was introduced. He gets in, he grabs it. It's wealth, he teaches. The same way when we get born again, we get to go on the good side of God and everything, we teach. See, going back to values. So now there's a thread. 7 years down the road, 7 generations, there's a grandfather who knows, who taught just witchcraft. Spring your powers from the lake, go and fetch water from this tree, kill a goat from this grave, when so and so dies you do this, so that this wealth can stay in a lineage. When on that side, on our side, we are saying, God, you give, you take. Whatever we believe, whatever we have is yours. We return it back to you. See, now, what I'm trying to show is, there's a brief set on both sides. They have an idea of actually what they're doing. But because there's a generation that did not get, like sometimes when you are in the Christian side and you're born in a born-again family, like I was, or like I am, you never get to know about witchcraft until you are old enough, getting married, friends, and then you're like, wait, they do what? Now, when the same thing happens on the other side, like, wait, there's a God who loves, who does not fight for things like we kill people for wealth. He just gives. That's the same thing that happens. So how do we redeem? First, Jesus just said it, preach my gospel, bring people to me, call them in, let them know how good the Father is, let them know the sacrifice I've made actually to destroy every other sacrifice that would come through. The ducks, the cows, all those other ones. Even the human beings, the normal human beings that they kill, cannot overtake what Christ gave. So that is the message that has to come through. Before you even go into understanding how they do it, you have to first bring in the brief set, revalue them and say, you know what, the value that you're looking into, the value that you're working with is not the right value because it sprung from this. You have to take it home to the ground that says the foundation of everything of this world is God. And because God is the foundation of everything, there was rebellion in heaven. There was a fight, and someone, the devil, did this. So you are following this trend, which was not the original line. We need all of us to go back to the original line. And the original line is this. Yes, I understand your mother introduced you, your jaja did what, your grandfather did what, you had thought this is the best way. But it's not. Because some people actually do not know that it's not. Others are on this side, but because our God takes his time, in his right sense, because he's all knowing, at whatever time I know I will give it to you, we tend to think, God delays, but so and so said it will come tomorrow, so let me try. We have also to evaluate that and teach more. To believe the faith. What does the faith mean? What does it mean to just continuously be patient with God and God's word and what he said? What does it mean to just be faithful to what you asked and stay in the same line until it comes to you? Because the impatience that we have tends to dwell us. It draws you because I need the money today. Okay, you need the money today, but for what? We never actually have an answer for that. That immediate need that you're saying you need now, that is going to make you fall off.
Buy a car.
Excuse me, why?
Odeke is driving a 2016
Why? Let's continue.
Subaru, my friend.
You want to buy a Subaru. Why?
Yes.
Why?
Because I want to feel to be like Odeke and also
Why do you
walk
want to
in the
feel like
place of
Odeke? Are you Odeke?
Because Odeke looks cool.
Are you Odeke?
No, I'm not Odeke, but Odeke look cool
You see,
with my friend.
no, that is where the problem
Yes.
is. You don't know yourself, so you want to be like Odeke. So find yourself so that you know what you need. You get?
Yes.
People do not know themselves, so they try to imitate the other person, want what the other person has. But everyone has a destiny. We have a purpose. We have a place where God said, Patricia, your name will be Kahil, not what your parents gave you. Your name that I'm giving you is Kahil. That is the purpose, that's the line I'm drilling you in. You're going to walk in that line. You're going to be Okila. And Okila, this is what you're going to do. Yeah. Follow this path, this is what it's going to be. But then you want to be Kahil. How are you going to be Kahil?
Because it's cool to be Kahil.
No, you're cool. Your side is also cool. Just because you're not patient enough to get to the point where your coolness comes in, you
the
want
coolness
to be
manifests.
Me. Yes. Yes. My manifestation, maybe I've been in fasting for 50 days.
Yes.
You want to come and remove and just get.
In fact, TD Jakes says, you want an anointing that took me 30 years of working without putting working with the food, you want to get it in 30 days. You must be out of your mind.
I have been fighting with God throughout the night, and now you're telling me I can't be Israel because what? I have been Jacob, and God has said you're no longer Jacob, you're Israel.
Yes.
But after fighting, have you lost your hip?
Your hip has been dislocated.
No,
yes.
it has not.
Yes.
So stop looking at what I have been and ask me, how have you got it? So if we're going to redeem people, it's more of manifesting and telling them the testimonies that run in our lives. To show them the light that actually dwells on us, the light that God has put on us. You know, you walk with that light all over you. There's a mark that you have there that says, this is my child. And that is the mark you're supposed to open that bulletin and say, this is my history. This is how God has walked with me. This is what has happened in my life. And if you get to the lane I am on, this is what is going to happen. But if you ask that person their history, I swear no one of those people has a booklet to show. From here, then I went here, this became good. Because most times everything they are doing backfires.
So if that was your friend called Okila and is doing that, how would you love me, Okila, now that you know that I have been trying to live Onye Itodeke's life, and I have lost myself in that process? And we are saying, put that question up there, that how do we help our family members? I'm now your family member, okay?
Well,
and I've been
wants to take what I
yes,
have. Yes.
And I've been lost in trying to be what Odeke is, in trying to be you. And I don't know that I need to go through that process.
Yeah.
So in the process of doing that, I've lost everyone in the family. I'm no longer with anyone.
Yes.
They all see me as a crooked witch,
yes,
that they don't want to be around me.
Yeah.
No one wants to associate themselves with me because I'm a foolish man. I don't see it. How do
I get to you?
Bring me, who is obsessed with witchcraft, back to the family and guide me to the process that you have been talking about, you and Odeke? If I understood from what Odeke was saying, please, the law of the process is very clear. You are going to go through that process. If you bypass the process for progress, you are doomed. That's how you end up in progress. So come back to the process.
Okay.
It's the same thing you're saying. How do you help me, who is obsessed with witchcraft, to come back?
Okay, first and foremost, it's not going to be easily done in human nature. You have done a lot of things. You killed my kids, taken my money. Like really, I am in my human being naturally. I would be looking at you and saying, Ninja, I am going to throw you in a den of lions, they grab you and eat you. But then I remember the Christ that died on a cross, got beaten, poured his blood, and I'm like, and he's saying, love them, turn the other cheek, he let them slap. And I'm like, okay, Lord, because I'm your servant. Okay, Lord, did you eat? Do you have food? What is happening in the village? I'm coming tomorrow.
And I've killed,
Yes.
I've taken your
Because
child
I'm
and
not
sacrificed
doing
in
it-
massacre.
I am not doing
Yes.
it for myself. You see, I'm doing it for my God. I'm doing it as a sacrifice for God, because if I contain the anger and everything, then I'm trading towards you. I'm going to become you. In the long run, I'm going to actually have the same anger, the same selfishness, the same self-pity, the same... I'm going to come to you. But then I have to show that even whatever you do bad to me, I'll do good. I'll go the David way with Saul. Like, I would have killed you. You see, I even have a cloth here. But I've left you to go because you are the anointed of God. You see, there's something here, I'll be like, you are God's child. God loves you, so here is food. Eat. But remember what you are doing. I have no crime with you. I've not done anything with you. So stop killing my children. Stop sending witchcraft to me. Stop sending those monitors, the birds that come and look into my house to see what I have and they come back and give you information. Stop. Just come and sit with me and ask me how did you get it. And I will tell you. You see, now that is the first place. But you even who is getting that person back into the family, you have work to do. Because that has been done to you and the whole family is also anguish. In human being nature, you're going to get angry. You're going to be, I don't want to see that person ever again. That is useless.
To be honest with you,
Hey.
I said, you give me a gun and
Hey,
you tell me you have been there, I will shoot you dead.
You see,
If you tell me this one is
what
this is
would
the guy,
Jesus
I will
do?
kill you.
What would Jesus do?
That's the difference thing, because
thank
no-
you. We are working towards becoming like Jesus,
yes.
righteousness. You see, so I would go and wash the guy's feet and be like, "Thank you, you did that, but my God says I should wash your feet. So bring, wash, anoint, pray for them, walk away." Then go back and cry to Jesus, but why, Lord? Why am I doing this? They are the why. That guy, you see.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, all across the world, straight out of Kampala to the rest of the world, this is the Family Talk Show. My name is Eddie Okila, Patricia Kayen in the studio, and of course, the one and only Onyait Odeke. There is no other OO. The real OO is this one here. And we are talking about the family and the problems of our families, and how we can bring back our brothers and sisters who are obsessed with witchcraft, the African black magic or the white black magic. And of course, it's important that we understand this. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, Onyait Odeke is going to tell us if it is easy to love a person who has killed somebody, like Patricia is saying, and then you keep going back to say, I love you, come back. Your child has been sacrificed and you didn't know, and then you learned that the sacrifice that was done was by your cousin. But you have to love that person. How do we bring them back, those who are obsessed with witchcraft? Stay right there. We'll be right back after the break, and we will be reading some comments from Sidney Bugera, who has said in the 90s when he was growing up, he saw some witchcraft. Things have changed. We're going to read the comment, and of course, many of you want to encourage you to send us your kisses, and this is coming. We're going to read it, and we're going to, this last part of the show, we're going to come back to you guys and to make sure you actually participate. Stay right there. We're going on a break. We'll be right back after the break. This is the Family Talk Show.
Yana diak ma yamo tiamba mira de ya ro ma kelo de ba mira de ma gamo le ba mira de Abu baby nyana gini go nyana gini I will down every year. I will down every year. Man wood. Oh yeah.
It is the Family Talk Show, and welcome back to the show from that break. My name is Eddie Okela, sitting in for Asan Seka Jolo and Pastor Joshua Martin Mugabe. Pastor Joshua Martin Mugabe is the family pastor at Wachoto Church that also under the counseling office. He deals with families, and so over the last 40 or plus as a pastor, he's been marrying people, and he's married so many people, including myself, and all of us have gone to them with our problems when we're getting married. It's only like Patricia said, when you're getting married is when you start to hear many stories that you've never had before. In fact, getting married to start a family is the most difficult thing. Dating is the easiest part. You buying the cake and the ice cream and all these things are okay. But getting married is the most difficult thing. Some men some men take off from marriage. Some women even decide to run away from the marital home. But only the strong fix the problem. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Family Talk Show straight out of Kampala, from the capital city of Uganda to the rest of the world. We are live on Facebook at House of Talent Uganda. All right. And of course, from our YouTube studio for all our international, citizens of Uganda who are living in many countries. Dennis in Australia, thank you very much for watching the show. I saw you. And of course, Professor Penny Nachayo, all the way in Washington University. Thank you very much. She's the assistant professor for design communication. Those are Ugandans doing great things across the world. And she's a family woman. And following the show. And of course, I would like to say thank you for all my friends in Denmark and the guys in Sweden. We love you, care about you. Chugula Omwendo Edwin in Germany. Guten Abend. How are you doing? And all the people in Germany, we thank you for following the Family Talk Show. In the studio is the woman who speaks French but in Luganda. Patricia Cahill is in the studio.
I don't speak French.
In Luganda, I said in Luganda, you speak French.
Actually, the right one would have been I speak Korean in Luganda.
In Luganda.
Yeah.
Be careful, we have a teacher, in fact, a professor of that language here called Sydney Mugera. Don't joke around.
With the Korean language?
Yes, it's very dangerous.
Please, I want him.
That entire house are Korean.
Can I visit? Annyeonghaseyo.
Well, this is the Family Talk Show, and the one and only OO. If you have another OO, that's a fake. This one is the real one, the real deal. You don't hear anything. Onyeto Deke, welcome back to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the effect of not COVID-19. You see how COVID has messed us up. Yes, but we're talking about the effect of witchcraft and how do we bring a family member who is obsessed with witchcraft back to family and to instill the family values in them going forward. So we have a very long way to get there, but a short time to get there. And I want to start by reading one comment all of us are going to read. I'll start from Jemima, Dr. Jemima Okwi. You all remember her. She was on the show last week and spitting fire. Doctor is a very serious person. Said, thanks for the show. Watching live from Buate. All the people in Buate, thank you very much. I hope you're not caught in traffic. If you're caught in traffic, we are live on Twitter at HTV1. We know your traffic is serious, but Dr. Jemima, thank you very much. Buate, for all the people across the world, is actually a suburb in the Kampala city. All right, and she said that discussion is focused on those who practice witchcraft. How about those who don't but keep thinking someone is doing it to them, or out explain their misfortune based on the witchcraft? That's what doctor is saying. The discussion is focused on those who practice witchcraft. How about those who don't but keep thinking someone is doing witchcraft?
That's very important.
Yes.
If they think it, then it is.
And all my misfortune is because somebody is doing witchcraft. And that can run you crazy. And I've also known so many family members who say, I think somebody is doing witchcraft for me, and I'm going to get mad. Then he goes to the witch doctor and says, I suspect Onyeto Deke. The man is innocent in his own world, doing nothing, doesn't even know anything.
There's something that we tend to forget.
Yeah.
We are born of the Spirit.
Yes.
That it doesn't go away. We are born of the Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is always available, always there. Even if you don't invite him, he's there. He's just there waiting for you to just, please come through. But he's still speaking. Even if you don't call him, he speaks. So he speaks to the believers and non-believers. He speaks to everyone, because humanity is his. Because the Holy Spirit is God, so humanity is his. And he will continuously nudge you at any moment to let you know that this is happening. So I believe the one who thinks that, man, someone is doing witchcraft on me, it's like God telling them, look into this thing. Look into this thing. The problem is when they hear that, they don't also ask, but why am I thinking like that?
That's a very good one.
Because when you start looking in the direction of why am I thinking that someone is doing witchcraft on me? How is witchcraft done? How will it not be if it was not done? You see, when you start examining things, then you can actually get to the root point. But when you think it and you're like, and then they told me witchcraft is bad, let me go and say, you see, you've not even analyzed. Why is there a knowledge in your mind that witchcraft is happening to you? What if God is just saying in your background, in your foundation, this is what happened? Look into it so that you cannot be limited in that way. Why do you have to think that because you fought with Okwi, you will have what? He will be the one sending it to you because you fought. Why does it have to be that because the so-and-so's child, I punished them, they have sent it to me? What if it is not it? So we tend to go into conclusions because of the nudges without even examining the nudges.
Wow. Well, my friend, Professor Engineer Okwi David, I always talked about critical thinking for us, and he says that I am always talking about critical thinking. What you have just talked about here, jokes aside, is me telling people critically analyze everything that is going in your head.
Thank you.
People, think fast always. Before you go out thinking somebody's doing something to you, you are doing it to yourself because you're not thinking. So you are the problem. You get it? So what Patricia is saying here is very important. Onyaito Deke says the same thing, and he's saying again. Thank you, Patricia, that critical thinkers will always have problems solved at their feet before they go out to step on somebody's feet. Onyaito Deke.
Just on that point,
yes.
I'd like to mention something.
Yes, please go on.
As human beings, we are designed to find answers. Like I said, people want certainty. So when something happens, we ask ourselves why, how, when, what is next. It's by nature, it's by design. So part of a resort to witchcraft is to fulfill the need for why. And in the quest to fulfill that need, you get people resorting to mediums and different ways to try and find answers to questions that they probably don't have answers for.
Yeah.
And what I would also like to mention there is it's not just non-believers. It's not only people who don't know Jesus. Actually, you'll be shocked.
I think we're shocked with
that
believers that the ones
there are a lot of people, because God is not working on their schedule.
Yes.
They want to accelerate
The
process and get the answers faster. Also, not having peace by the fact that there are certain things you will never understand, and you need to know that it's okay. It's okay. So, well, some people actually get into witchcraft by trying to answer that all their misfortunes are because someone is. Now, the problem with that mentality also that I want to, since we're dealing with helping our family, the problem with that mentality is you're quick to look at who is, but not what is my contribution to what is happening.
You had that?
You know?
That's a hard one.
And that's a huge problem. That's a huge problem. Let me tell you, whatever issue you're facing in your life, it might look like you're the reason, or maybe you're not, but there is a contributing factor, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And you need to ask yourself, what is my contribution to what is happening to me? Because your decisions design and decide your future. So if your go-to response is someone is bewitching me, that we're going to have a problem, because God designed failure to be a springboard for success, such that every time you fail, you learn another way not to do that particular thing.
Correct.
Now, instead of taking the lesson, if you choose to blame that someone is bewitching you, you're going to create a loop. And when you create a loop, unless you get out of it, it will keep looping, and that's one of the reasons why people don't progress, and then they say someone is bewitching them. Why? Because they created a loop. But you need to understand that it's okay not to know, number one, that failure is okay, and that we need to understand the laws of process for us to proceed, that someone is not necessarily bewitching you, and even if they were, depending on where you fall from your belief point of view, there are ways to handle it other than by retaliating through witchcraft.
Wow. Well, we're talking about how to bring her brothers and sisters, cousins, grandmothers, mother-in-laws, father-in-laws who are obsessed with witchcraft back to our families. We need them back to our families if we're to build and family value systems that are resilient to some of these things we're talking about, that will bring us, wealth, create wealth, and create wealth multiplication in our families. And by wealth, we're not talking about just money, we're talking about wealth of wisdom. We need it. Knowledge built over time is going to give you opportunity to lead a generation forward. It's very important that you actually listen to what these guys are saying and take it to heart. Tomorrow is Women's Day. And today I've just got somebody who said, Edio Killer, extend that show to 1.5 hours today. Because tomorrow is Women's Day and you need to discuss why women get involved in witchcraft because you have a woman in the studio. Wow. So, this is very interesting. But it's a family talk show and the topic is up right there. We want you to participate. Tell us, how is it in your family? How are you going to love the one who has killed your cousin or killed your goat, massacred your chicken, your ducks gone, everything, everything, the rabbit is gone because the innocent rabbit, because they are trying to practice witchcraft. So please get in touch and we will be able to talk to you. Onyeto Deke and Patricia Cahill, I want to just take you straight to Sydney Mugerwa here. Growing up in the 90s, witchcraft was all around us. However much we didn't really believe in it, whenever we would go to the village, our grandma taught us to mirror strange actions by strangers walking past. If they stretched their chin, you scratch your chin. Okay, this side is Cindy Mogera, you win. I swear today you win. You're going to win a cup from us from the Family Talk Show. I said, Cindy, you won a pack from us for your household. This is a winner. Okay, and that's really a cool one. And then he says, as an adult, witchcraft has little way of my day to day. Very little way. Sorry. As an adult, I read it poorly. As an adult, witchcraft has little sway on my day to day. But more I learned about our history, the more I realized that what colonialists termed witchcraft was simply our own set of beliefs. It has been demonized and distorted that what we call witchcraft is a very different ideal from what our forefathers believed in. Odeke, is this true? Is what Sydney is saying true?
Which one in particular?
The one, the one of the chin, we understand. The grandmother was just giving.
Actually, I think
the chin is if they do
that was actually a sign of respect. Really.
Yes.
That was in witchcraft.
Yes. No. I actually.
Actually, for me, I know it on a different name because we are.
Okay, Odeke, first tell us quickly. Yes.
So I have a bit of context on that one. So the thing is, we live in a village where witchcraft was the thing.
Yes.
To the extent that, it was petty, but it was about so-and-so's garden is doing better than mine. So-and-so's cows and goats is doing better than mine. So-and-so's business is doing better than mine. And then there were just notorious people who just wanted to bring harm to other people. And so witchcraft was sort of a practice of protection or harm, or some sort of self-preservation or I don't know, like trying to get above the rest through unscrupulous means. So what happens is we had a notorious witch doctor who now specialized in undoing what the other people had done. Apparently, what word went around that one of the techniques of undoing what someone was doing, or how they would administer witchcraft on you, was non-verbal. So like they'd pass you, and if they are passing you and they scratch a particular area, they scratch in return. So let's say they scratch their neck like this. So when you observe,
You also scratch.
because the thing is, of all times, why did they scratch at
When
the
they're
moment
near
they
you.
were passing you? So the thing was to scratch back, and when you scratch back, there are certain testimonies. We had no physical evidence. There are certain testimonies that when someone scratched back, the witchcraft fell on the ground. You know, but those were stories. Those were stories and stuff like that. Yeah, so I just wanted to sort of bring that context.
Yes.
Speaking on witchcraft, which was demonized and stuff like, African traditions which were demonized. As a Pan-Africanist, I believe that we had some barbaric practices as Africans.
Yes, we did.
But when people write your history, they skew it to who wrote it.
Yeah.
Africans, we didn't write our own history. So they make the white people look like they didn't practice any witchcraft. I don't have pure evidence for this, but when you look...
You want evidence of the white people practicing witchcraft?
No, I'm talking
Some
about
of
the
us
magnitude. Like if you compare
They are
in terms of practice.
Theirs is
madness at another
extreme.
level.
Yes, but then why did they term
Ours.
our practices and traditional beliefs, some of which were not witchcraft, barbaric? Okay, so there is that debate, but that's not the point of discussion today, and I don't want to delve into that.
Yeah.
But I think one of my takeouts from Sydney's point is that there are certain African elements that we can keep from a heritage and cultural point of view that have nothing to do with witchcraft in its sense, but there were traditions that helped us move as a people, and these are cultures that we had, some of which played different roles and purposes. So I think what I don't want to spread as a narrative or a notion is that witchcraft is African.
No, that's not true.
No.
That's
Again,
not true, yes.
because you will never find a Harry Potter book. Well, Nigeria hasn't helped by all the movies and stuff like that. But when you begin to get into white magic and sorcery and stuff, you will realize that they are as involved to date
Actually,
in witchcraft than I don't know. But like I said, I don't have hardcore evidence, but all this information is there, books and stuff. When you read, you begin to put one and one together.
Yeah.
But like I said, my key take home there is that let us preserve certain key practices that helped us as a people from a cultural point of view that have nothing to do with witchcraft. And we shouldn't demonize those, because one of the pangs of being colonized is that everything the white man brought is good, and everything the black man had was bad.
Which is not true.
It is not true. So I just want to make that distinction very clear.
Thank you very much, Onyaito Deke. Well, you are on the Family Talk Show. We are in the evening of the Family Talk Show, and we are saying that how do we help our friends who are obsessed with witchcraft come back to normal life? And they might get out of their poverty situation very faster than normally they would if they continue with witchcraft, having understood where they are and what drives them there. And some of the things that we're talking about here, you heard from Dr. Jemima, like your self-belief that somebody is doing it to you and you have no evidence, and then you go around saying, I want to counter this. That's how some of us have actually ended up in witchcraft and practicing it. And so you find yourself in a situation where you are lost just because you didn't put the thought to it. And that's what Patricia was saying. Think and think about the process that we're talking about. Okay, Patricia, we're going to read this quickly. Jemima Kui is saying, Sidney Mugera, I think our old African traditions and spirituality is different from the witchcraft. You want to throw light there very quickly, and how different is it?
African traditions and
Yes.
spirituality different from witchcraft.
I think it's the
funny,
point I was
explain. It was
the
trying
point-
to
oh, it's the
make.
point that
was-
Separating
yeah, I
the
think
two.
actually, yes.
And it was a debate between
Yeah,
them on the wall.
yes.
Oh, okay, fine. So I think Onyaito Deka has sorted that one. If you're following that comment there, I want to go straight to Shamim Nirere. Patricia Cahill, you are doing great. Oh, so this is some of your fan base. Yes, yeah. So shout out to you, Shamim, from her, and James Odongo. Thank you very much for watching. We want to look at Dr. Jemima. You're always a resident panelist. We are very happy to have you on the show anytime. And I want to go straight to Esther. Esther is just watching, and I see another one here from Sydney. It is different, but I think we answered it. Sydney is saying it is different, but of late it's part and parcel of the blanket term witchcraft. How do you separate the truth from the quacks and the devil worshippers?
Holy Spirit, please invite the Holy Spirit. That's the only answer I can give you, because you can't really know which is good witchcraft, which is not witchcraft. It somehow it tethers on. It's like on a borderline.
Is there a good witchcraft?
That's what I'm saying. So you can't differentiate. The only way you can differentiate is asking God, like, am I on the right line? Like when we started the show, I didn't know about palm reading, and I went in. I was all this palm thing, and I'm like, the nudge came, like, but my daughter, and I'm like, Lord, what does that mean really? And he's like, you are going in the wrong direction. Please come back. You see, but me, I didn't even know that palm reading was. I had even started writing and researching and getting all these books to read. And I realized, I'm going, this is not the Holy Spirit way. So it's the same thing. You have to invite the Holy Spirit to tether for you and say, yeah, that herb, mubiri is nice. It is good giving you mubiri. But when it is used in this direction, then it's no longer mubiri. It is now a different thing. But then there was a question that you mentioned about women being the most involved.
Yes.
And
So we're going to close with that one. Odeke, I want you to knock on that one. Sydney is saying here, thank you, Onyaito Deke, for voicing my sentiment to the T. I couldn't have said it better than you have said, so there's kudos there for you, Onyaito Deke. But Onyaito Deke, on this part here, how do you differentiate if they are?
Differentiate?
Yes, what Sydney was just saying, that of late they have become part and parcel, but then how do we separate the truth from the quacks and the devil worshippers? They are quacks and they are devil worshippers.
The question is a bit confusing for me, honestly.
So he's saying, it's referring to what Jemima was saying, which you have just answered. Yes, the submission which you've just answered. But now he's saying, Jemima is saying that it is true. Let's not, in fact, let me read it to you. Sidi Mugera, I think our old African traditions and spirituality is different from the witchcraft. And then Sydney has come back to say, okay, that's true. Yes, but then how do we know the difference? So he's saying, how do you separate, how do you quickly distinguish that this is a devil worship?
I'll give a one-word answer.
Yes.
You will know them by their fruits.
Okay. But
there's always a result.
But this is.
But then by the time I know that,
if you speak like that, don't give me some examples to take home. What's my take home? How do I know? For example, you see the way Okila dresses and tucks in and stuff like this, and the way he eats at these hours and these things. There, Okila's way of doing things is a bit different from when you watch Patricia. The way Patricia does things, so.
No. So this is the thing. You will know them by their fruits. This is why, because whatever the practice may be, if you want to separate a quack from a genuine person, whether it is in spirituality or otherwise, you know them by their fruits. Reason being, the principle of seed time and harvest that cannot be eroded will happen. So I don't need to know what you were doing yesterday. I just need to look at you and what you're manifesting, and I will know what you've been planting.
So if you left school today and for you went and signed in these Illuminati things, and you start driving big cars and saying, because it says we will make you get rich in less than 5 years. Odeka has entered MTN the hustle at MTN is really real. That he has to work. If he doesn't work, the key pointers there, you know, and deliverables. He must deliver. You must hit your target list so that you can get some bonuses here and that. For me, I'm saying no. I just go like this, I get this bonus. So, is that what you're saying? That if I see results very quickly, and I start seeing that person retrogress very easily, when I'm still just climbing and going, it is because we've seen those results. We've seen them. Mose Radio, for example, when he in his last days he said something, he said Katonda Nyamba, and he was crying over something. And I want to say something deeply in the music industry that we don't know. And most of the people in the music industry are suffering because they were told, if you accept to do this, we will make you successful, like Chameleon, like Bobby Wine, like everyone here, like the top guys, very quickly. And so they signed up for that. That's why you see the foray into the fast-paced failure of some of the young people that have come into the music scene today than those who have been there, who have walked through the journeys, which is what you're saying. So maybe those are the signs.
Again, circumventing the law
Yes.
of process.
Yes.
Because easy come, easy go.
Okay.
If you're given, you see, process happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Process happens for it. There's a reason why you crawl before you walk.
Yeah.
There's a reason why you walk before you run. So process happens for a reason. So every time you try to circumvent, you distort the order of nature, and it will work on you.
Wow.
So you see them by their fruits.
Wow. So Odeke is saying the law of the process is very simple. It develops daily, not in a day. So please make sure you don't bypass process for progress. Guys, we've got to bring this show to an end. And typical questions. Tomorrow is Women's Day. Congratulations. And what song can we sing for her for Women's Day? She's the only woman in the mix.
Thank you
in the
very
studio,
much.
so we will think through it.
Don't sing.
But the question here is very quickly as we wind up the show. Our time is really up. Tomorrow is Women's Day, and women have been confused into witchcraft quite a bit. There seems to be the biggest point of entry of witchcraft in our families.
Yes.
And they either married into the
I
family.
disagree.
Married into the family. And why I'm saying this is because the fight between the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law always leads to that. You don't say father-in-law. Okay, it's always mother-in-law, daughter-in-law leading to that, and that has happened before. So we're saying tomorrow is Women's Day, and there should be some learnings key point learning going forward. And Pastor Joshua Mugabe says that Women's Day, women are always easily lured into witchcraft than men, and men always follow into the street, yes, because they want to support their wives and get them. How do we help women into the Women's Day tomorrow to live out of witchcraft?
Just one like this. Can the men take back their role and be the heads? Like what happened to you being heads?
Look into the cameras.
You are the men here. I don't have to look into the cameras. I have 2 men sitting right here. Like what happened?
We have to pass
you?
it on to the other guys also.
What happened to you being heads? Like you're supposed to be heads of the family. Like God actually, that is the God first husband, wife. But now the wife is bringing in the witchcraft. Like and now you're following. Like you said, following. Why are you following something you did not grow in? Where is your stand to say, woman? No. In this home, it is God Almighty. Whatever you're doing, it does not work with me. Like Jacob. When the wife stole, Rebecca stole from her father's house. And Jacob did not care. Whoever has it, let whatever happens, happen to them. Please take. He did not win. His mind was like, all my family hold, you're supposed to be bowing under one God, like I do. You're not supposed to be stealing from your families. You're not supposed to be bringing any gods with you. When you come into my home, my God is your God. He stated that himself, like that is the rule. So when the father-in-law came looking for his gods, it was the wife. He did not even plead. He didn't plead. Jacob didn't say anything, oh, my beloved Rebecca, what have you done? No. He just said, whatever I said earlier will happen. And Rebecca died early. That's what I mean. Authority streams from the men. Yes, it's Women's Day tomorrow, but what are the men telling their wives? You're running away from your homes, you're abandoning children, you're producing from here and there, bringing quarrels. We're the ones who are bringing all this in. Yes! Yes! You have a wife inside, but then you have a what are they called nowadays? You have a side dish number 1, you have side dish number 3, side dish number 12, and all of them are competing for you. Yes, we women, God in Genesis, he said the woman would long for her man. Her man is you, the man. You come and say you are my man. That's there, and then I don't care if you're married. The moment you crown me, I'm your woman, then you are my man. I will long for you. It is God ordained. Now I'm longing for you, but then you're telling me I have a wife. But you have planted the longing. So I'm going to find ways to bring you back to me. So you are the problem. It is not us women. You're leaving your heads away. You're leaving the neck to lead.
Wow. Ha!
Fire! Problem.
Yes, and that's why I'm sitting like this, because please close the show. Let the wise, they say the word is enough for wise, but is many for a fool.
Patricia, thanks for that. I think that is profound, absolutely profound. Leadership is a big deal. And every time there's a lack of leadership, there's a vacuum. When there's a vacuum, it has to be filled, because nature abhors a vacuum. So when there's a lack of leadership, something comes to fill the gap, and sometimes witchcraft and all these other things. But in relation to Women's Day, I also would like to break down the notion that women maybe are spearheading witchcraft more than men. I think it's a planted seed by watching all these Nigerian films, because everything you know is perceived. No one is born with knowledge. So when you know something, ask yourself, where did you know it from? But because we've been watching all these movies that tell us it's the women who are doing this, it's women who are doing that, I'm not saying they are not. What I'm saying is that then there will be some men hiding behind the fact that it is women who are, yet they are also the ones who are, including, you see, the acts of omission or commission. So omitting to lead your family, omitting to lead yourself first, could also be, you're collaborating to bring the issue. So, but if only women knew who they are, and the power that they wield within them, they would never have to seek an external source of validation or authority or power to try and get things in order. There is a hierarchy that has been put together, and once they fall in line of that hierarchy with certain guidance, everything begins to fall into place. I think that's what I did.
I want to say thank you very much, Onyaito Deke and Patricia Kahil, for coming to the show. And you have done exceedingly great and wonderful. I want to say high five to you for coming. Odeke, high five to you for coming. And I think you've done a justice to this show. I want to encourage everyone out there to emulate what Odeke and Patricia just said on the show today. In the absence of Pastor Joshua Martin Mugabe and Asa Mseka Jolo, you have taken a mantle to take us through some really very difficult topic of the day. I can't say much, but to say God bless you. I didn't know how this was going to turn out. It's not a very easy topic for us to discuss. And so many people will find it a very difficult place to even start putting their part in. You hear witchcraft, people want to just scatter because they don't want to be part of, associated with anything to do with witchcraft. But I want you to say your one last word in a very quickly, just a microsecond. What is our take home? What will leave us with, Odeke? Starting with you.
There is a law of process. You don't need to circumvent that process. Obey the law of process and you will get whatever you need. Understand what is the process that I need to go through to get to what I want to get. And don't try to cut around that process. Everything will fall in place.
Patricia?
As a preacher woman still, I would just say, God, Jesus, Holy Spirit. If you obey the Trinity, look into the Trinity, spend time with God, spend time in His Word, pray. Yeah, they tell you to fast 30 days. You can actually even take 50 if you can. But stay there. Stay at the throne. Stay at the feet of Jesus, and then everything else will come out to you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Onyaito Deke. Thank you very much, Patricia Cahill. I want to just close the show by reading one more comment from Okware Tom, saying, how do you define a devil worshipper? He asked the question and even answered it. He says, I think the devil is the devil regardless of the tradition. Not all African traditions had devil practices. So therefore, Tom is saying, it is clear that we can see them. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the show. My name is Eddie Okela, standing in here representing a very eminent team of panelists in Pastor Joshua Martin Mugabe, whose son is sick and is in the hospital. And he said something that I should say to all of us watching the show today. One, if you married a woman and the son or the daughter becomes sick, both of you brought that child into this world. It is a responsibility of a man and a woman to stay to look after that child. Pastor Joshua Mugabe, we have a huge respect for you staying in the hospital and teaching us how to live as fathers and mothers. For that, we want to say thank you on behalf of everyone who follows and who is an ardent follower of the Family Talk Show. We thank you for the sacrifice that you're able to still give us the topic, even when you're inside the theater, you're still thinking about families. That's a huge sacrifice that you make on behalf of everyone out there. We would like to say God bless you. And to Asan Sekajolo, reaching out to us all the way in Koboko and trying to be part of the show, we want to say thank you very much, Asan, and we're looking forward to having you guys back. In the meantime, you have nominated Patricia and Onyaito Deke, Eduardo Chom, and Jemima Okwi to be representing you guys. Thank you very much. And I would like to say from us all here, Team and House of Talent, and to everyone out there following the show, God bless you. This has been the Family Talk Show. My name is Eddie Okela. Keep it, the Family Talk Show, right here at House of Talent. Until next week, God bless.
My name is Dr. Jinpo Olowo. Thank you for watching House of Talent Television. I love to inspire people. I love to talk about my experiences and how God has been able to use me in the different exposures. And through the leadership, through change management and transformation, I've been able to do a couple of things in my life. Now, are you a kind of person who is tired of your status quo? Do you want your situation to change? Are you tired of what is going on in your life? You know, change is a fact of life. We've all been through experiences in the last couple of months that have taken us to a place where we need to do something about our lives. We need to change whatever is going on. So if you have not piled up investment for yourself, you need to do that. If you've not done businesses to hold your family in future, you need to do that. Are you thinking of full-time employment? You need to be thinking about your life after employment or your business in the next couple of years. So if you want us to chat, if you want us to talk about this, please get in touch with us at SEAL Uganda on number 0772443085 or check our website www.sealuganda.com, or on all the social media handles. You can hook me up or Facebook, that is Jinpo Olowo, on Instagram, Jinpo Olowo, and on Twitter and LinkedIn. Then we can chat a way forward with you. We can help you, we can coach you, we can walk with you this journey of financial freedom. Thank you.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Yeah, remember Prince?